Well, g'day all. Welcome to this beautiful region of Coen, about 600 kilometres north of Cairns, about 400 kilometres that way, the top of Australia, Bamaga, where lots of people are making their way through this time of year. But of course it's summertime and it's snake season, so we've got to be super careful. Had a young fella ring us yesterday where he just took his shoes off. He had no symptoms, he didn't feel a bite. He had two little red marks beside his ankle. Well, he called the ambulance because he was a bit concerned. Little did he know, half an hour or about an hour later, we had a Royal Flying Doctor Service fly out of Cairns, meet us here and flying back home, just because the bite was even suspicious. So two little fang marks. As it turns out, he spent the night in hospital. They took a swab and it was a dry bite. It was a dry bite of a death adder. So those snakes are pretty lazy. They don't always produce venom. It was his lucky day. So it turned out that all the ambulance and first aid and the clinic and the Royal Flying Doctors, massive overkill, it feels like at the time, but the most appropriate thing to do. So just a little bit of focus. You as campers coming through this season, brown snakes, red-bellied blacks, death adders, taipans, just to name a few, all snakes that can kill us pretty quickly. So what we're going to do is a pressure mobilisation bandage, so we can restrict that flow into the blood system, and if we do that well, we can save ourselves about 15 hours, normally plenty of time to get to definitive care. So using our patient here, we're saying kind of thing, taking the shoes off, a couple of red marks. Gee, could that be a snake? Not sure, because he hasn't got any symptoms or anything like that. She feels totally fine, but I'm still going to treat it as a snake bite. So we get a long elasticized bandage and we start at the very base of the toe. And we want to do it really tight because we want to restrict the blood. We want to restrict the lymphatic system and getting into the blood flow. So I make this bandage nice and tight right over the top of the wound. When I come over the top of the wound, if I've got a pen or a texter, I know the bites are about here, so I put a little texter mark. And so when she gets to hospital, we don't want to undo the pressure bandage, so we can just cut there and they can take some swabs and they get access to the bite area. And away I go. I just bandage and bandage and bandage and bandage, nice and tight. We want to restrict the flow, and we keep going and we keep going and we keep going until we go right up to the top of the thigh. Once I've done that, I want to immobilise the leg. If I'm out in the bush, I don't have splints and things, I'll find a stick and then I'll get some more bandage material, which I just happen to have in my pocket, and away we go again, and I will wrap that leg up, and that'll be my little makeshift splint. And again, once I've done that and I put it right up to the top of the thigh, that'll restrict Chrissy's leg from moving. So I don't want to move, I want to keep a heart rate nice and slow. I want to reassure and keep it calm. Really hard stuff when you've been bitten by a snake, I might say. So it depends on your skills as a communicator and a first aider and reassuring her she's going to be okay. But I don't want a heart pumping faster, so I don't want to move in at all. So I'll bring the stretcher down, put her on the stretcher, throw in the car, take her off to the clinic, contact Royal Flying Doctor Service, especially if in a remote area like this. We want to get her on a plane really quickly out to Cairns. If we do all those things, then we should avoid ourselves becoming a victim or a fatality of snake bite. So enjoy your trips, folks. Have a great time. This has been Paramedic Paul.